Okay. So if sulfur and iron mixture I have told you to prepare. Now let me take Pradosh will mix 10 grams of iron and 100 grams of sulfur. 100 grams of sulfur. Next, Monish will mix 50 grams of sulfur and 75 grams of iron. Next, Tamil Selvan will mix 50 grams of sulfur and 10 grams of iron. So now you see, this is also called as sulfur iron mixture. This is also called as sulfur iron mixture. This is also called as sulfur iron mixture. But is it their mass is constant by weight? Suppose I will take iron here 10 grams. Is it everywhere iron is only the same mass, or is everywhere the sulfur is having same mass or different mass? That is what I want. Is it everywhere the same by mass? Constituents mass is same or different? Please tell me. Constituents can be any proportion, correct or not? So first one if you take any proportion, first one if you take here, sulfur is more, second one if you take iron is more, third one if you take again sulfur is more. So we cannot say there is a fixed composition of constituents by mass because it is a mixture. So always there is no kind of fixed proportion of the masses by the mixture. Do you understand all of you? That is what you have to understand. So always if you take iron fillings and sulfur, they have a variable composition. Is it yes or no? So always you can observe here. So what is the composition always? Composition is always varies. It is not same for everybody. Correct or not? So always variable composition. Variable composition. So if you take the variable composition, what will happen, Ra? Variable composition, so that they do not, the constituents can be present in any portion by mass. They are not. Do you understand, Ra? Always the constituents present in any portion by mass is varies always. Please write it. The composition of a mixture is variable. The composition of a mixture is not same, correct or not? The composition of a mixture, the composition of a mixture is variable. Mixture is variable. Is what? Variable, comma. The constituents can be present in, comma. The constituent present in any proportion by mass. Do you understand that? So their mass, the mass percentage is not always constant. Is it okay, all of you? Please tell me, Ra. Is it okay?
Yes, yes sir.
By mass, their mass percentage, that things are not constant always. That is what you have to understand. For example, you can take, for example, let me go for the water. Water is a mixture or compound, Ra? Water is a compound, correct or not? Water is a
yes sir.
Compound. Now if you take, what is the water formula? Darun, what is the water formula? H2O. So always what is the ratio? Mass ratio. Hydrogen 2 times and oxygen 1 time. This is what it is. Ratio, correct or not? So the mass ratio, the mass ratio of compounds is always fixed. Suppose if you take carbon dioxide, what is the mass ratio? 1:2, correct? That is, this is the number of atoms, but mass ratio means ratio. Their mass, atomic mass, you have to calculate it. What is atomic mass of hydrogen? Hydrogen 1. Next chapter you will study. And oxygen is, atomic mass is 16. So if you take hydrogen 2 is there here. So 2 is the thing. So 2:16. But lowest fraction you have to take it. What is the lowest fraction? 2 ones are, next 2 only, 2 8s are. So 1:8 is the mass ratio of what? Mass ratio of water. What is that? Mass ratio of water. Check for carbon dioxide. Carbon atomic mass is 12. Oxygen 18. 8 is 16, correct? 16 2s are 32. 2 is there. So where it will come? Both. With the table, Ra. 12 and 32, which table?
2 table.
Huh? 2 table only. Another table also come. Another table. In the table. Four table, check it.
Yes, sir. 4 table.
4 threes are and 4 eights are. So what is the mass ratio of carbon and oxygen? 3:8 is the mass ratio. Do you understand? Like that we can calculate. That we will study in the chapter number 3. So no issues. But if it comes to the compounds, there always the elements present inside the compound, their mass ratio is constant. Correct or not? In compounds, proportion, understanding the constituent present in any in proportion by mass is always constant. But if it comes to the mixtures, it is not same. Correct or not? Mixtures, we don't know how much amount we are mixing. Either one constituent is more, one constituent is less, another constituent is more, another constituent less. We guys don't know. That is why mixtures are not present in any proportion by mass. Is it okay? They can present, one is more, one is less, anything they can present. That is what it is called as mixture. Any doubt till here? Please ask me. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is the fourth property. Now, fifth property if we'll take. Fifth property. What is the fifth property means? Try to observe very carefully, all of you. Fifth property. Now again I have taken one mixture, sulfur, iron and sulfur, you take it. Iron plus sulfur. Now let me take this time Darun. I will ask to heat iron and sulfur. Now another thing, for example, I'm saying this is water. Now what is the water boiling point? What is the melting and boiling point of water?
0 degrees and 100 degrees Celsius.
0 degrees and 100 degrees. Because it is what? Water is called as what? Compound. Right or not? So water is a compound. So compound is always having a fixed. Each compound is having a fixed MP. MP means what, Tarun? MP means melting point. BP means what? Boiling point.
Boiling point.
Melting point. Always fixed for compound. But if you take this is what? Mixture. What is that called as? Mixture.
Mixture, sir.
Each substance is having same boiling point and melting point? No. Correct or not?
No, sir.
As we know that iron and sulfur, who is having highest boiling point? We know melting point 1500 degrees Celsius. 1500
Yes, sir.
is for iron.
Iron, sir. Iron.
Sir.
So melting point around 110 degrees Celsius. Correct or not? This is around 1500
Yes, sir.
Celsius. So see lot of variations between the temperatures, so that we can say mixtures does not have, what is that? Does not have fixed melting point and boiling point. Fixed melting point and boiling point. Is it okay, da?
Yes, sir.
I'm saying real life, you have to analyze into your real life. So if you observe a mixture of iron fillings and sulfur does not melt at a single fixed temperature. Correct or not? Because they have a variable, they do not have a different melting and boiling point, etc. That is why they do not melt at a single fixed temperature. Correct or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
That is because iron is some other temperature, sulfur is another temperature. If any other mixture, it is another temperature, because the boiling point and melting point is always varies between the constituents. So that is why we have to conclude that here. What we have to do? Sulfur and iron does not melt at a single fixed temperature. Sulfur and iron does not melt at a single temperature. You understand what I'm saying? Single temperature. That's all. But compounds we can. Correct or not? This is the fifth property of iron and sulfur mixture. Any doubt, anybody? Now it is sixth property, I think. Is it correct, Pradosh? Sixth property.
Yes, sir.
Property. Fifth over, now sixth. So now, any doubt till here? Please tell me, all of you.
No doubt, sir.
So that's all. So this is all about the 5 properties of sulfur and iron mixture. Now the last property, if you'll observe, if you'll examine the mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder with a magnifying glass. So if you're seeing with a magnifying glass, it is found that though the iron particles are quite close to the sulfur particles, at some places there are more of iron particles, where at other places there are more of sulfur particles. So as I have already taught you in the last class, you may notice it. Suppose I have prepared a big mixture of sulfur plus iron. sulfur plus iron. Now you may observe here I will collect Darun will collect the sample here, Yelamukil will collect the sample here. This is the Darun sample, this is Yelamukil sample, this is Monish sample, this is Tamil Selvan sample, this is Pradosh sample. Now you tell me, this is Monish sample, Tamil Selvan sample, and this is Pradosh sample. If I will take totally 5 samples I have been collected. Now I am seeing with a magnifying glass. What is that gas?
Magnifying
What
glass.
is that glass? Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass.
So magnifying glass. Magnifying glass. Now you tell me, is it always in all the samples, is it the same number of iron and same number of sulfur particles will be there?
No, sir.
No possibility at all. Correct or not? It will never possible. Sometimes more, some samples more iron particles, some samples more sulfur particles is present. So some particles more iron particles is present, means in the sense of what? Suppose Darun sample more iron particle I am seeing which are very close to each other. So sulfur particles are very less. Suppose if I'll see Yelamukil, more yellow color only I am seeing, means in the sense of more sulfur particles are there. Now iron is not having not at all, means less number of count is present in the iron. So that is what you have. So different samples if you observe, everywhere the number of iron and number of sulfur is not constant. Always the number of particles, with the help of magnifying glass it will found that iron particles are quite close to the sulfur particles, and some places there are more of iron particles, and other places there are more sulfur particles. Do you understand, Ra? So that is why you
Yes,
can
sir.
a mixture of iron fillings and sulfur is not homogeneous mixture. What is this mixture called as? What is this mixture?
Heterogeneous mixture, sir.
Heterogeneous mixture.
Equal distribution. That is why we can call them as heterogeneous mixture. What we should call?
Heterogeneous mixture.
Heterogeneous.
Heterogeneous mixture, because the composition is not same. Correct or not? Can you able to accept it? That is. So that is what you have to understanding. So in our surroundings, that is why we can say most of the mixtures are heterogeneous, and some mixtures called solutions and alloys, they are homogeneous mixture. Except that remaining all are what? Except solutions. Except solutions and alloys. Solutions and alloys. Remaining all are what?
Heterogeneous mixtures.
This is homogeneous mixtures, and the remaining we should call it as what?
Heterogeneous
Yes, sir.
mixtures.
That is what.
Heterogeneous mixtures.
So solutions means you may understand what is the solutions. So sugar solution, salt solution means one substance will dissolve in another substance completely. We cannot indistinguish, correct or not? We cannot separate it. We cannot see them separate boundary between them. That is called as solutions. Correct or not, Ra?
Yes, sir.
That is. So this is the sixth property. So now sixth property finally we can make a mixture is usually what? Heterogeneous. Understand, Ra? A mixture is usually what?
Yes, sir.
That is what you have to.
Heterogeneous.
Please write it. A mixture is usually heterogeneous. That's all. So mixture is usually what? Heterogeneous, except something. What is that? Except two mixtures. What is that mixtures? That is
Solutions and alloys.
alloy. So these alloys are the
Solutions and alloys.
solid mixture. Solid mixture. These are examples of solid liquid or liquid or gas liquid also. Do you understand? That is called as. So that examples, solid liquid examples, liquid examples, gas liquid examples, solid mixtures, homogeneous mixture, all will study in this chapter example. So this is all about the 6 properties of sulfur and iron mixture. The most important thing is to remove the iron. In second step we will use some organic chemical. What is that called as? Carbon disulfide. Do you understand, Ra?
Disulfate, organic liquid, sir.
That is all. So that chemicals you have to remember very carefully.
CS2.
Yes, CS2, carbon disulfide. So this is all about the properties of mixture of sulfur and iron. Then with this I will stop. In the next class we will study the most important thing. What is that called as? Compounds. What is that, Ra?
Compounds.
Okay, that is what we are going to study in the next class. So two things we have already studied. What is that? Solutions is over. Sorry, elements is over. So elements over, and another thing is what it is over? Mixtures. So mixtures is completed. In the next class, what we'll study? Compounds. Compounds, and what is the ratios by mass? What is the ratios by mass? And that all we'll study in the next class. Now again we'll study same iron and sulfur will take, and we will start heating. Then we used to get some kind of a products. So by the time what is the properties, again we'll study in the tomorrow's class. Is it okay, all of you? Again we'll
Yes,
get
sir.
6 properties
Okay, sir.
of sulfur mixture, because they are now chemical, some bond is forming between them. That we will study in the tomorrow's class. With this I'll stop. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, sir.